Decoded.
Welcome back to Book Decoded, everybody. Excited to jump into another thought-provoking book today.
Definitely.
This one really makes you question things,
Yeah.
like where your anxieties actually come from. We're talking It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolynn.
Oh, this book, it really goes deep, you know? It looks at how stuff our parents, grandparents, even great-grandparents went through
Right.
can affect us today. And not in some, general way, but, real tangible stuff.
So it's kind of like, I got my dad's curly hair,
Yeah.
but maybe also his fear of heights, that kind of thing.
Exactly. We all know we inherit physical stuff, right? But Wolynn is saying we inherit experiences, too. Crazy, huh?
It is a little bit, yeah.
Imagine, your family history is this pond. Every event, especially the bad ones, it's like a ripple, you know?
I see.
Spreading out, affecting everyone. So that anxiety you feel, maybe it's not yours, but an echo from way back.
So wait, I could be carrying around emotional baggage that isn't even mine to begin with. That's a freaky thought.
Yeah, a bit unsettling. Right, but the cool thing is, once you get this idea, you can start to untangle yourself from it.
That's the part I want to hear more about. What's the science behind all this? Is there, actual proof?
Well, one thing Wolynn gets into is epigenetics. It's fascinating. Basically, trauma can change how your genes work.
No.
Meaning, we might pass down the effects of our own tough times to our kids. There was this study, really powerful, about babies of mothers who had PTSD after 9/11.
Oh, wow.
These babies weren't even born during the attacks, but they had lower cortisol, that's the stress hormone, compared to others.
So even stress in the womb, that can have effects years later.
It's wild, right? And it just shows we're not these separate islands. We're part of a story, a web of experiences going way back.
That's what Wolynn calls the family body, right?
Exactly.
So, okay, how do we even know if we're carrying this inherited trauma? Are there, red flags to look out for?
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting. Wolynn talks about this family consciousness. It's like families share an unconscious knowing. And the traumatic stuff, it echoes down, sometimes in weird ways.
Weird how?
He gives this example. A guy went to prison for embezzlement, swore he didn't do it. Turns out, a generation earlier, his father was accused of murder, a business partner. Got away with it. The guy who went to prison, same age his dad was during that whole thing.
Whoa. Some cosmic justice, but on the wrong person.
Yeah.
Makes you think, how much of our life is shaped by stuff we don't even know about?
Right. That's why Wolynn's work is so huge. He's not just presenting these ideas, he gives us tools.
Okay, tools for what?
To understand and maybe even break free from these patterns.
So how do we even start to figure out if we're carrying this trauma?
Well, Wolynn has this concept, the core language approach. Think about phrases you say a lot, especially when you're stressed.
Oh, okay.
Do any feel heavier than they should, more meaning than just the words themselves?
I think I get that.
He calls these core language. Often they point to a deeper, hidden story back in the family history.
You mean those phrases that make your stomach clench?
Yeah.
Or you catch yourself saying them and it's like, why am I so stuck on these words?
Yeah, exactly that. One example he uses is someone who always says, I'm going to lose everything. This could be tied to, a grandparent losing it all during the Depression.
Interesting.
Their anxiety isn't just random, it's an echo.
That's wild. So, my seemingly random anxieties might actually be echoes of my ancestors' experiences. But how do you actually connect those dots?
That's where Wolynn's core language map comes in. It's 4 steps. First, your core complaint. What's the big thing bugging you right now?
All right, makes sense.
Then, core descriptors. Describe your parents, gut reaction, first things that pop into your head.
So if I just blurt out, my dad is always anxious, that could be a clue.
Could be. Then we get to the core sentence, the one that really hits you when you say it out loud, usually connected to those descriptors and your biggest complaint.
It's like we're solving a puzzle, and our words are the clues.
Yes. And lastly, the core trauma itself. Time to dig into that family history, you know?
Yeah, actually researching it.
Look for big events, especially the ones nobody talks about. Hidden hurts, secrets, all that.
I'm starting to see how it all links up. So we use our words and our family history to figure out the roots of our fears.
Yeah.
But what happens after we uncover that core trauma? Does knowing about it actually help?
And that's what makes this book so powerful.
Right.
Wolynn doesn't just leave us with this heavy knowledge. He gives us tools to move forward. Healing images, he calls them, and healing sentences.
Healing images. Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
So it's about using visualizations to rewrite those internal scripts we've inherited. Like, say someone has insomnia, and it's tied to maybe a relative's death they never dealt with. They might picture releasing that fear back to the person who passed.
So you create a new image, a new way to think about it. I like that.
Yeah.
But what about these healing sentences? How do those work?
Think of it as specific phrases that help you reparent yourself, breaking the cycle, offering yourself the comfort you maybe didn't get as a kid.
Oh, that's nice.
Like giving yourself the love and understanding you've been looking for from others.
Powerful stuff.
It's important to remember, though, this isn't some quick fix. Healing takes time, consistent effort.
Makes sense.
But it can be a powerful way to reclaim your life, break free from those old patterns.
This is incredible. It's making me rethink, like, everything I thought I knew about myself.
It's a lot to take in.
Can we dive into some specific examples of those healing images and sentences?
Yeah.
What about how they actually work in real life?
Absolutely. One example that really stuck with me was this woman who, she always felt this, like, deep rejection. Turns out she'd been separated from her mom as a baby, hospital stay.
Oh, wow.
To heal that, she taped a photo of her mom above her bed. Every night, imagined her mom holding her.
Oh.
She said it gave her this comfort, this security she'd never felt.
It's like she finally got that love she'd missed out on.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah, that's what's amazing about healing images. They create a new reality, a new way to relate to the past. Another example, this woman felt responsible for everyone's happiness, especially her mom, who struggled with alcoholism.
Oh, gosh.
It was like suffocating her. So to break free, she actually made a physical boundary, sat on the floor, used yarn, made a circle around herself.
I love that. So visual,
Right. And as she sat there, she said this healing sentence to her mom. Mom, this is my space. You are over there, and I am over here. When I was little, I would have done anything to make you happy, but it was too much for me. Now I feel like I have to make everyone happy, and it makes closeness feel suffocating. Mom, from now on, your feelings are over there with you, and my feelings are over here with me. In this boundary, I'll honor my own feelings so that I don't have to lose myself when I start to feel connected with someone.
Wow. It's like she's taking back her own space, both physically and mentally. And that sentence, it's so direct, like she's finally setting herself free.
Exactly. These tools, they're not about blaming our parents or dwelling on the past. It's about understanding where our patterns come from and then taking action to change them.
So we've been talking about our own anxieties, but what about relationships? How does all this inherited trauma play out with our partners?
That's a great question. And it's something Wolynn dives into. He talks about how these inherited patterns can really mess with our romantic relationships. We end up in the same conflicts, the same disconnections we saw in our families.
Oh, it's like when you end up in a relationship that mirrors the stuff you swore you'd never repeat.
It's crazy, right? It's like we're unconsciously drawn to what's familiar, even if it hurts. Wolynn thinks we often choose partners who trigger those old wounds. It's like a chance to finally see them, own them, and heal them.
So our partners are like mirrors, reflecting back all that unresolved stuff from our past.
Exactly. And until we see those patterns, we just keep repeating them. He tells the story about a couple, Dan and Nancy. They fought constantly. Dan felt Nancy was too needy, always wanted attention. Nancy felt ignored, abandoned.
That push and pull, classic relationship trouble.
Right. But when they looked at their own core language, their families, things clicked. Dan's mom had been depressed, really needy, so he learned to shut down.
So his distance from Nancy, it was like a defense mechanism.
Exactly. And Nancy, craving attention, her mom had been emotionally distant, unavailable, so she grew up feeling rejected.
Wow, they're both playing out their childhoods with each other. That's kind of sad.
It is, but once they got it, they could start to separate their current relationship from their pasts, see each other with compassion, realize their reactions were coming from these deeper places.
Okay, so someone's listening and realizing, hey, this sounds like me. What should they do?
First, pay attention to your core language in your relationship. When you're fighting, feeling disconnected, what are those charged words, those phrases? Do they sound like your childhood?
Like being a detective in your own relationship.
Yes. And if you see a connection, look at your family tree. Did your parents, grandparents have similar relationship issues, recurring themes,
It's about getting the context. We bring so much baggage into our relationship.
Exactly. It's not about blame, it's about understanding so you can make different choices.
Okay, we talked about anxieties, love lives.
Yeah.
What about success? Can this inherited trauma affect that too?
Wolynn has a whole section on that. Unresolved family trauma can create these unconscious blocks, keep us from our full potential.
Like self-sabotage, those limiting beliefs.
Exactly. One pattern is atoning for wrongdoings in the family. He talks about Ben, this lawyer, super talented, but could never be financially stable. Get close, then something would happen. Turns out his grandfather built his fortune exploiting migrant workers.
So Ben was carrying that guilt, trying to make up for it.
Like he was balancing the scales without even knowing why. Once he saw the connection, he could separate his worth from his grandfather's actions, make different choices.
That's powerful. We could be carrying burdens we don't even realize are there.
Totally. And there are other patterns like unconscious loyalty to failure, repeating family patterns, or personal guilt suppressing success, feeling unworthy, or even identifying with a family member who struggled. It's like we become them without realizing it.
This is heavy stuff. Makes you rethink your potential,
It's a big shift, but it can be so freeing.
Okay, I gotta ask. This is intense.
Oh, yeah.
The book isn't just all doom and gloom, right? There's got to be some hope here.
Oh, absolutely. This book is about resilience, about healing. It's about recognizing these patterns, not to blame anyone, but to understand and then write a new chapter. Taking ownership, breaking free.
That's what I like to hear. It's not about getting stuck. It's about using this knowledge to make things better. For listeners who are feeling inspired, what are some key takeaways, things they can actually do?
Pay attention to your core language. Notice those intense words, especially when you're stressed. Explore your family history, those repeating patterns, the things people don't talk about. And don't be afraid to get help. There are therapists who specialize in this.
And be kind to yourself, right? It's a journey.
Exactly. Healing takes time.
We've been talking about personal and family trauma, but could this apply to bigger things, like societal anxieties?
Now, that's an interesting thought. Wolynn doesn't really touch on that. But it makes you wonder, could our collective struggles be echoes of traumas we haven't dealt with? Wars, disasters?
That's kind of scary. But also, it could mean there's a possibility for collective healing, too.
Right. It reminds us that healing isn't just a solo thing. We can do it together.
Love that. This has been such a mind-blowing talk. I'm seeing myself, the world, in a whole new way.
Glad to hear it. It's been great sharing these ideas with you.
And to our listeners, check out It Didn't Start With You and explore this stuff for yourselves. This book, it can really change things.
Thanks for listening.